guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be about the Chicago Red Stars versus the Washington Spirit of the NWSL. It's the second game of the Utah Challenge Cup. I'll be going over the starting lineup, the highlights, the individual players, and my overall thoughts about the game. As always, timestamps will be in the description below. Let me know what you think in the comments below. So let's get started. The starting lineup for the Chicago Red Stars was Alyssa Nair, Bianca St. George, Zoe Morse, Sarah Gorden, Casey Short, Morgan Gautrat, Julie Ertz, Vanessa DiBernardo, Rachel Hill, Kealia Watt, and Yuki Nagasato. Subs included Michelle Vasconcelos, Savannah McCaskill, Katie Johnson, Mackenzie Doniak, and Danielle Colaprico. Their formation was a 4-2-3-1. The Washington Spirit starting lineup included Aubrey Bledsoe, Tori Huster, Paige Nielsen, Sam Staub, Tegan McGrady, Andy Sullivan, Jordan DiBiase, Rose Lavelle, Ashley Sanchez, Kumi Yokoyama, and Ashley Hatch. Subs included Dorian Bailey, Bailey Feist, Maggie Doty Howard, Jenna Hellstrom, and Avery Collins. They came out in a 4-3-3. I think throughout this game you'll see that Kealia Watt was actually probably one of the brighter players for Chicago because she was actually driving forward and trying to create opportunities. This one here kind of ended up being a fluke, but they ended up getting a chance off of it anyway, and it went wide. Rose Lavelle was doing a fantastic job of winning the ball in the midfield and driving forward, and this is just what she does best. She gets it, plays a through ball to Ashley Hatch, who Alyssa Nair makes a great save, but no one's able to recover, and that's just a phenomenal finish from Rose Lavelle. An opportunity here, but it was headed out nicely by Paige Nielsen. I think this ball here was weighted so perfectly. But Alyssa Nair does a great job of getting off her line to stop that because we know Ashley Hatch has great speed. Ball sent in by DiBernardo. Kealia Watt just can't get up to head it and send it in the right direction. I think Bledsoe did a good job there at picking up that wobbling ball. And again, you'll notice this throughout the game that a lot of long balls over top were getting played. And Ashley Hatch's speed were allowing her to completely dismantle their back line. And that was a great run here, but nothing was able to come out of this opportunity, but I think you could see that that was an issue with Chicago's back line. This chance ended up being offsides. This was a great through ball to Rose, and I think she was probably shocked she wasn't offsides. She's definitely going to want that one back, but she knows that. Again, Kealia Watt getting wide here. This was the space they wanted to find her in, and she did a great job taking on 1v1, but Washington was just able to clear it. Again, Aubrey Bledsoe does a good job of coming off her line. I feel like she's a great keeper in the fact that she always knows when to come off her line. And let me know if you think this is a penalty. I've slowed it down. I've looked at it from different angles. It's one of those where I don't even know. I feel like both players were challenging the ball. Both their feet hit the ball at the same time. But again, let me know what you think. This is just insane to me because we've seen Washington do this to teams before. Alyssa Nair gets caught lacking and they capitalize. And then on the other end of the field, Morgan Bryan capitalizes on a mistake from Washington's back line. That shot just went over the bar. But again, I feel like here Rose Lavelle should have scored. Her shot rises up. Kealia Watt gets the ball again wide. She was getting these wide pockets of space and then driving forward, and her final production, the final third just wasn't there. And here, Ashley Sanchez, I think, should have taken the shot then, if not right then. But she keeps dribbling, and that's a theme that I'll talk about her later on, is I feel like she dribbles too much, and that's just, yeah. Aubrey Bledsoe came up huge there. That could have been the game-tying goal. Avery Collins with her first header on goal, that could have been a goal as well. My thoughts around the Chicago Red Stars were not necessarily positive. I don't think they came out very strong. They definitely lacked cohesion in the center of the park, which was surprising because Vanessa DiBernardo, Morgan Bryan or Morgan Gautrat, and Julie Ertz have all played together for years. So that was definitely surprising, but I think that's something to be said about Washington's midfield, and their young midfield were able to seriously compete and force them to play wide, which wasn't necessarily a bad thing. They just weren't able to finish their opportunities they created from the wings. offense, but their midfield definitely was getting beat, which was leading to a lot of issues within Chicago's back line because they weren't then able to defend that. I saw lots of giveaways, bad passes, bad touches, but again, I think a lot of that's to be expected from your first game back from a huge break. We're also seeing a pretty new side to the Chicago team. Back line's a little bit restructured. Sarah Gordon's been with the team for a while, but she normally plays as an outside back. She played center back along with Zoe Morris, who was just drafted out of college, so that center back pairing is new. She was filling in for Tierna Davidson, who's injured, and outside back Casey Short plays there, but I don't think she had her best game. And on the other side it was Bianca St. George, and I think she actually played super well. She definitely did not look like a rookie. She looked like she had been playing for that team forever. She was getting forward, she was making runs. I felt like sometimes she was out of position, but her and her teammates had this understanding that if she went forward, Rachel Hill would drop, and that was essential. So I think she's going to be a really big part of that team going forward because she did very well. One thing to point out is Chicago played a high back line, meaning that all Washington had to do is play a ball over top, and it would have enough time and space for that ball to settle nice into that space for Ashley Hatch to run onto it before Alyssa Nair could come out to clear it, if that makes sense. So if you play a high back line, that's fine, but you have to be on your toes and ready. The second you think Washington is about to send it over, you gotta start dropping. That wasn't happening. We saw Casey Short get caught too far forward. We noticed this in the Portland game. Kelly Hubley gets caught too far. What do? They exploit the space you leave. So Casey Short gets too high up, send it over their head, run on. Ashley Hatch is super fast. She was doing that all game. I think the biggest thing to take away is that last season they had Sam Kerr. She's arguably one of the best forwards in the world. She scored more than half the team's goals. She can score goals by herself, or she can set up other players, and truly there's not going to be a person who could fill that spot. It's going to be a minute, I think, till we see Chicago be able to find a game plan that doesn't revolve around sending it to their fast forward. So that will be interesting to see how they restructure that. Washington. I was really impressed with how they were able to play calmly throughout the back. That's something that's not easy to do, especially under high press. And they were able to do that very flawlessly, in my opinion. There were a handful of moments when, yeah, they got caught, but that's always going to happen. You're always going to make mistakes. In the midfield, Jordan DiBiase, Rose Lavelle, and Andy Sullivan were phenomenal together. Andy would hold, Rose could go forward, Jordan was being a playmaker, or they could all interchange in those roles. And I think that that's why they were so efficient in the midfield, is because they were all interchangeable. It wasn't just one player doing the work, they were all contributing. And then up top, obviously, you have Ashley Sanchez, Ashley Hatch, Kumi Yokoyama. I don't think she necessarily had her best game. She had a lot of crosses that were awful, but again, it was her first appearance for Washington. So my only concern for Washington is they can't build their game plan again around Ashley Hatch being fast, because there are fast center backs in the league, there are fast defenders in the league, and you can't center all that around one player. They generated a lot of goal scoring opportunities, which was very impressive from them, because in my opinion, I don't really recall seeing a lot of that in the past. They had their moments, but I feel like they were so strong in the way that they had multiple opportunities for multiple different players. It wasn't just one person, and so that's really positive for them that they can have multiple goal scorers on their squad. Not to mention, I think Richie Burke just picks tactical players individually. I pointed out in my North Carolina versus Portland game defender Kelly Hubley and how uncomfortable she looked on the ball, how untechnical she was, and compare that to Tegan McGrady or Tori Huster or Sam Staub, Paige Nielsen. They're all very that is so essential to a back line. They came in with a game plan, they executed it well, and I think that they're going to be a great team in this tournament, and I'm really looking forward to see what they can do. Rose Lavelle. I thought Rose Lavelle had a good game. She's just one of those players where she's so special. There's a spark about her and flair that no other player has. She's just uncomparable to really any player right now that I can think of in the US. I don't think she meets any other of those players' skill levels. She's just above everybody else. She's just up here and everyone else is down here. Obviously, she had a fantastic goal. She set up that entire play from her defensive work, and then obviously her rebound, fantastic. Now, she did have two opportunities where I feel like she definitely should have put them away. The one in the first half, she should have scored. The second half, maybe the keeper would have saved it. But again, I think that she would want both those opportunities back, and I think if she was given another chance, she would definitely convert them, and she knows that. Her vision, her skills, her soccer intelligence, it's just all outstanding, and I think that's the level of excellence that's able to lead this Washington Spirit team to victories, and we've seen that in the past, but obviously last year was a World Cup year, So I'm really excited to see what Rose Lavelle can do this year with this entire tournament being completely unrestricted from international play. Ashley Hatch. In the past, I think Ashley Hatch has been dominant, but I think she kind of falls flat in some games where she goes unnoticed, but I think this game was an exception. Obviously in the first half she was way more dominant than we saw in the second half, but I think that was just an overall shift in both teams. It wasn't necessarily just her. Her work rate is outstanding. I think that's one of the things that I admire so much about her, is that she just never stops working. And again, I'll compare her to another Thorns player, Tyler Lucy. Tyler Lucy works so hard, but I don't think you necessarily see the rewards of that labor as you see with Ashley Hatch. She works her ass off, but she produces a goal. She will run at the keeper, but she'll intercept it, or she will make the run, or she will set up her teammate. And I think that is what sets her apart from other forwards in the leagues, and that's what makes her so dangerous for Washington. Ashley Sanchez. It was her professional debut, so obviously there's going to be nerves. She had a good handful of chances, more than I feel like most players would get in their debut to score. And I think she took too many touches in the final third. I don't know if she's used to the college level being more slow paced, but watching her in international play with the youth team, she's always been a player who loves to dribble, and that's not a bad thing, but it's a bad thing if you get yourself into trouble, which I feel like she did pretty much every single time she was on the ball. I can't tell you how many times I saw her get into a tackle with 2 or 3 players and then end up out on the ground with the ball going the other direction because she was trying to do too much. And I think with time she'll understand that and she'll learn that. She's trying to grow into this league, and maybe she's like, this is what used to work for me in college. It's not going to work at this level. Players aren't going to let that slide. I think she should have finished more of her chances, but again, it was her professional debut. That will come with time. And again, I think if Richie Burke can get that drilled into her head, that maybe we don't have to dribble 100 miles an hour every time we get the ball, she can be a really good asset for this team, not only in terms of goal scoring, but in setting up goals as well. Morgan Bryant, she had a phenomenal goal. She found herself in a great position, but she was proactive in that situation. Her shot was on the ground, it was low, it had pace. That's literally perfect. It really sparked a flame in this team, and although they did have opportunities in the second half to score, they weren't able to find the equalizer. She's more, in my opinion, of a leader role on the Chicago Red Stars team. I think in the past, obviously, she's dealt with a lot of injuries. She's in and out of the national team. She's in an interesting phase in her career, but I think she had a very solid game. Kealia Watt. I was very impressed with her. Kealia just came from Houston. They weren't able to get her the ball as much as she got the ball today. She was getting the ball wide, dribbling it down in line, either crossing it or taking a shot, and she was the only player doing that. I didn't see a lot of that on the other side of the field from Rachel Hill at all, and that was essential. I think the final touch will come obviously with time. She's on a new team, hasn't played in a while, so obviously she's got to shake off some of that rust, but I think she'll get her gold. If not next game, then soon, at least in this tournament for sure. Sarah Gorden. I think Sarah got caught lacking too high up a lot of the times, her and Casey Short as well, but I think you have to understand that it's not necessarily all Sarah's fault. For example, if your outside back consistently is getting up too high and you know they're sending the balls over the top, you're the one who's responsible to clean it up, because Casey Short physically cannot get back in time. So what was happening is Sarah Gorden was having to do these foot races with Ashley Hatch all throughout the first half, and Ashley Hatch was just faster, and that's the way it is. Now, I think defensively there were a lot of moments where she just was poor. Sarah Gorden obviously was dribbling the ball out of the back, which led to the first goal. She lost it, turned it over to Rose Lavelle, who orchestrated the goal. So obviously that was not the best from her, but again, things happen. I think she's a great player. I think she just had an off game. That's all I have time for today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Let me know down below who you were rooting for. I was rooting for Washington, in case you were interested. I'm trying to keep these videos a little bit more condensed and to the point, because obviously there's a lot of content to cover. So if it seems a little rushed, that's why. Like, subscribe, do whatever you want. Have a good day, stay safe, and I will see you later. Bye.